Welcome to Pale Blue Pod, the astronomy podcast for people who are overwhelmed by the universe and want to be its friend.
Hey, that's me. Hi, I'm Dr. Moiya McTier. I'm an astrophysicist, a folklorist, and friend to the universe, and also friend to my amazing co-host.
Friend to me, Corinne Caputo, writer, funny person, and all around, I think, kind friend to the universe, too.
Yeah, I've never heard you say a bad word about the universe.
About the universe. I whisper. I do feel like if I were to speak it, it would know.
Oh, yeah, because there's no such thing as behind the universe's back. It
can see everything I'm up to. That's like Santa, but worse.
So much worse.
Or maybe not worse, because there's no... Santa could punish me with coal.
The universe can send a comet.
That's so true.
Hurtling towards your planet.
That's so true.
That's a big. I'm
curious why it hasn't done that quite yet. We've been a pretty bad planet lately.
No, it's because you and I are such good friends.
That's exactly it. We're trying really hard.
Mm-hmm. And so is everyone else who listens to the pod.
It's true.
You know what? If you want to reduce the chances that the universe sends a comet hurtling towards our planet, make your friends also be friends with the universe by sharing this pod with them.
Yes. Share the podcast. Rate and review us, too. We love ratings and reviewings.
We really do. And it's been a while since I've been able to read one.
Yes. I love when a new one comes in. I'm so excited about where we are today, which is this very almost fantasy-like, mossy, open spot in this, it's a lush green forest. And I picked this spot. It's a secret spot that I have, but I've invited you all in because of today's episode. We are doing another movie episode.
Woo! Yes, I'm very excited to talk about this movie, and thank you for choosing this location. The ground, so soft,
right? Isn't it nice?
Yeah, the moss is really nice.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen a green this gorgeous in a long time. No. So thank you for bringing me here.
You're very welcome. I did build a terrarium recently. And I immediately killed it. I had to throw it away.
How do you kill a terrarium?
You drown it by accident is what you do.
Oh,
you accidentally put way too much water and you leave it closed. And it doesn't get to dry out and it becomes a swamp. And then everything dies.
Oh, no. Really makes you appreciate swamps.
Yes, really. They do serve a function and they keep everything else from drowning.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But luckily it's dry here.
Yes, but we are talking about this movie.
We are talking about the movie Prospect, a 2018 thriller, sci-fi, a little bit of indie vibes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So originally we were going to talk about Interstellar, but it was not streaming anywhere that we could see it. So I just happened upon this movie and I saw that it had the internet's favorite daddy, Pedro Pascal, in it. And I was like, let's watch that.
Immediately I was in because I would watch something. I did not realize he was the Mandalorian. I actually haven't watched The Mandalorian. I've only watched The Last of Us. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, I guess I'll give it a shot.
Just for Pedro Pascal.
Just for Pedro Pascal. But apparently he's in a mask the whole time, so you're not even looking at him.
Oh, no.
So we'll have to go back further in his archives.
Yeah. He does have a nice voice. I do like his voice.
He does have a nice voice. Mm-hmm. Maybe. Oh, I should have put that on my favorites list for this.
So this movie was really great. But I want our listeners to know what happens in the movie. So please pause this episode now. And go watch the movie if you haven't seen it, because we're going to have spoilers. We're going to tell you what the movie is.
We're actually going to be talking beat by beat about what's going on. So, but if you love that, maybe I know for me, it's sometimes easier to pay attention to a movie when I know what's going to be happening.
I agree. And even if you already know, I do think that it's kind of worth watching.
I still think you'd like it. Yeah, the visuals of it are what were so striking, I think, were part of what was so great.
Oh. Well, I'm excited to hear more about that.
Well, I can give you a little summary of it. Or
let's do it.
Maybe a long summary. We'll see. This movie has 3 main characters. Really 2. But it stars Sophie Thatcher as our main character, C. Sophie Thatcher is in Yellow Jackets, if anyone's watching that. She plays young Natalie.
She's 13 or something, right?
Yeah. I think she filmed this when she was 15 or 16. And in Yellow Jackets. Now she's 22. But she looks almost the same. And then her dad is played by Jay Duplass, Her dad's character's name is Damon. And then Pedro Pascal, our favorite, he just plays a man named Ezra.
Yeah, I was so confused when I started it. I was like, I watched this for Pedro Pascal. Where the fuck is he?
Especially for like the first 25 minutes. It's as if he'll never show up. And I'm like, why does he build so highly in this? And then you figure it out.
So let's tell them why. Let's get there.
This movie's written by Christopher Caldwell and Zeke Earl, and it's based on a short film that those two made in 2015, funded via Kickstarter, which is always very inspiring. I did a Kickstarter a few years ago for a web series. Hardest month of my life. My heart goes out to anyone funding their own crowdfunding, any creative endeavor. And it starts as a man, Damon, and his teenage daughter, C. They're on a mission to, like, harvest something for money, and it opens on C sitting in like a window alone, and you're kind of like, is she in a train? What's going on? And you see out the window she's in space. And there's an announcement that this is like the last stop, or this is gonna be ending. So she gets up and meets an older man who we learn is her dad, Damon. And he wonders where she's been. They're in their like bed cabin now. She's like, I couldn't sleep, and implies he takes some kind of sleeping aid to go to bed, but she doesn't. And
I like that you thought that was a sleeping aid. The thing that he put in his eyes. I was definitely like, oh, that's drugs.
Okay,
he's doing
it's
drugs.
It's gotta be drugs. Okay, but so there is a line where she's like, I couldn't sleep. Some of us don't get help, or something like that. And I was like, oh, okay. So he takes something to help him sleep. He's clearly abusing it. Whatever it is, he's like abusing it. And
that's made obvious.
So he mixes some concoction, which is that sleep aid, and like the drops go right in his eyeballs, which really freaked me out.
Just one eye too, which is why I thought it was drugs. I was like, these aren't eye drops.
You
this
can't
is recreational.
Fool me. This is not Visine. This is. So he's like under the influence of something, and they're falling asleep, and he looks at her, and he's like, "You look just like your mom." And she like pulls off her headphones, and she's like, "What?" And as he's falling asleep, he like explains to her that she wasn't born on the planet she thought she was, and he should have told her something. And she's like, "What? Like, tell me what?" But then he falls asleep, and she doesn't get more info out of him. So clearly there's a strained relationship here. She doesn't have a great idea of what her past is. And she also in that time is like kind of questioning him about what they're up to next. So clearly there are these like kind of nomadic people who are not wealthy by any means, and he is not giving her all the information he should.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's the morning now, and he takes some pills. So I guess like whatever he's taking to put him down, he's like taking something else to put him up.
Which would be interesting.
Yes.
Imagine if like, I think when I was watching that scene, I had the thought, imagine if there was a drug that like didn't wear off. You had to take another drug to stop feeling the effects of that first drug. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of, it made me nervous. It made me very stressed. I'm like, that's a lot to keep up with. And then a lot for her to be, her caregiver to be doing. So they go into this kind of ship. They strap themselves in. They depart from the space station. And the whole time C is kind of like, we're going to be back before the last sling or something like that. There's something impending that like they're going to miss their ride home if they don't make this quick. And he's like, yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, they have a limited amount of time to do their mission.
Yes. And you don't know quite yet what the mission is. But you know it's for money or something. So immediately things go wrong on this ship. Stuff is popping. There is fire. Things are beeping like crazy. And the dad, Damon, has like no idea what's going on. And as they got into the ship, he like looked at the manual quickly and then kind of like tossed it aside. So you're like, oh, he doesn't even know how to fly this thing. So he suddenly parachutes erupt and you're like, okay, maybe they're going to live. And they're slowing down and then they crash onto this planet.
It's a moon.
It's a moon. Okay, that explains a lot. I wasn't sure what was planet and what was moon. And the movie does a good job, and I'll get into this with like some of my thieves of heart, of like not trying to like hold my hand too much, or just being like trusting me for the information. Yeah, I can see it was one of your things too. Okay, so they suit up, and you know they need to move fast because they're going to be late to go. So they emerge into like this lush green forest, a lot like the one that we're in now. There's like dust in the air. You hear some crickets. But they are like wearing helmets, so clearly they're not supposed to be breathing the air here. As they're walking through, they pass a dead body that is wearing the same suit that they're wearing. So clearly this is like a land that has experienced shit.
Yeah, it's a dangerous place.
It feels it, and you can tell, like, something's off about this. And Damon stops to check out an old mine that had apparently been there, and C is like, do we have time for this? I don't think so. But he's like, I wrote, he's too obsessed to be stressed. And that is, like, what his whole deal is like, he is too focused on whatever's going on to be, like, to indulge or to even soothe her in, like, a meaningful way.
Mm-hmm. Like, not daddy vibes at all.
No, not by any means. So when you first meet him, I did not know that he was her dad. Like, you kind of put it together. You kind of assume when you have a character this young and a character this old, like, they're probably parental relationship, but he was so kind of, like, non-warm or nurturing that you're like, oh, this is not the kind of parent you want.
Yeah.
So he goes to this mine, he cuts a hole in the ground, pours water on it or something, and he sticks his hand in, something I would never do. And he pulls out this, like, disgusting tube. It was so yuck. And
extremely.
He asks C if she wants to cut it free. She cuts it free. They harvest something out of it. It could be a meatball. It could be a chicken heart. Like, you don't know. But then there's some, like, really delicate science they have to do of, like, chemistry, really. And they're, like, pouring stuff. And it reveals this, like, unpolished rock where, you know, with, like, amber in the center or something. And you're like, oh, this could be a gem. And he's like, this is worth $10,000. And C's like, that is, like, kind of all we need, isn't it? Like, that would pay off the debts and, like, it would cover our ship and whatever. And he's like, no, we need a lot. Like, we're going to keep looking for stuff. And I'm like, get the hell out of here. You just stumbled on 10 grand and your ship is about to explode. Like, just go.
Yes.
So C's still really afraid of missing the slingback, whatever that is, but I trust that it's a big deal and you don't want to miss it.
I don't think they ever told us exactly when the slingback was happening, which is, the whole time I'm so stressed. I'm like, when is this thing happening? Like, how much time do you actually have?
I know. I'm like, and as, like, the sun sets, like, later in the movie, you're like, what? She's got to have missed it by now.
Yes.
So then they're continuing to go. It's implied that there's, like, a larger mine on this moon, and they're trying to get to it. And Damon detects that there are 2 men up ahead, so he asks C to hide, and he's going to negotiate something with these guys. These 2 guys, it's Pedro Pascal and his Ezra and his, like, silent partner. So C is in hiding, but she can communicate with her dad via the headset. And
everything on this planet is through, like, telecom systems.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it sounds pretty good, but, like, you can still talk to someone who's in front of you. You don't have to be on the headset. Like, that's how Pedro and Damon communicate. But so Pedro almost kills Damon. Damon's like, I think we can work together here. Like, I can take you to this, like, mother mine. There are some mercenaries, like, that I'm working for. It'll be good for both of us. We'll split the profits. So the 3 of them embark, and Damon communicates to C that he needs her to, like, intervene and, like, save the day. And let's shake these guys off. So C emerges at a moment she deems safe and, like, holds up a gun to Pedro and his partner. And then Pedro's like, Ezra, I'll stop calling him Pedro. Ezra's like, I've never seen this before, like a little girl. How funny. Then there's a showdown with gunfire. And guess what? C loses her dad.
Yep.
Really tragic.
Look, it's Pedro Pascal. You know he's going to become an adoptive father at some point.
Exactly. You know, that's the role he was born to play. So C, after this showdown, C runs back to the ship that they, like, kind of sort of crash landed in. And she tries to get it to work. It doesn't work, but she stays in the ship. She listens to her music. She, like, eats something she finds. And she's not...
I think she gets high.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
I really do.
She must have, because her response to, like, losing her dad was not, like, the grief you expect to witness. So suddenly she's on her own, and she was extremely stressed about missing this slingback, and now she has no way of getting to it. She hears some rumbling outside. In walks Pedro Pascal. Ezra. By the end of this summary, I'll be saying Ezra. She shoots him in the arm immediately, and he needs help. Like, he's like, get me the, like, first aid kit. And she knows she can't kill him because she can, just like her dad did, try to negotiate next steps here of, like, can you get me to where I need to go? And he really wants to harvest the mine that her dad was talking about, thinking she knows where it is, and then also cash it in. So
yeah.
She kind of sort of helps him fix up his arm. He puts what essentially looks like plaster or grout, like, in the hole of his wound. And I think it, like, seals up your suit.
Yes.
Like, the point of it is to, like, mend the hole that your suit so that none of the, like, toxic dust gets in. So he kind of sort of does that. And then they start walking to this mine. And he's asking her name. She won't give it to him. And at this point, as a viewer, you don't know C's name yet either. You find it out later in the movie, I think. Unless I missed it when she was talking to her dad, but I'm pretty sure you don't know.
I also, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So they're walking, and he looks at his wound, and there's some kind of gap or hole. It's not sealed the way he thought. They need medical help. And there's somebody ahead of them, another person, and they need to kind of now negotiate with this person who seems to be, like, native to living on the moon, this moon.
I don't know about native, because he's also human, but I think that maybe he was, like, an earlier wave of humans.
He's not an alien.
Coming onto this moon.
He's not an alien, but he seems to be someone who, like, lives there. He's not kind of a cowboy in the sense that, like, Ezra and Damon are.
Yeah, they're called satyrs.
Satyrs, okay. So Pedro, Ezra, asks... Take a shot, like, every time I do that. Ezra asks, like, do you have juice? Like, I'm sure you have the medication I need. They call it juice, which is weird.
You got the juice?
It was really strange to me. I was like, okay, let's do it. They say yes. So they're in this tent now, and they're given glasses, and Ezra drinks it. C drinks some too, and Ezra's like, how can we repay you? Like, thank you so much. Here's how I'll repay you. And he opens a case that has, like, 6 of those gems that C and Damon had harvested. So, like, presumably worth, like, 60 grand.
Oh, no, I think it's the other way around. The satyrs hand him that case.
Really? In exchange for... Okay, because... Okay, then I totally missed it.
Yes.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, that's the real fucked up part of it, yeah.
So then a case is exchanged, or almost exchanged. And then the satyrs are like, we want the girl. And it's very creepy dark. I hated that part.
I hate that part. Any scene where the sentence "we want the girl" is that nothing.
My whole body like tightens up, and I'm like, oh god, get the hell out of there. Or like, also, if you're not immediately putting your life on the line to protect her, like, I'm gonna be so pissed.
Yes. Oh yeah, I think at some point around this time in the movie, like probably when we first meet Ezra, one of the notes that I wrote down was, oh, Daddy plays a bad guy, you know, because
he really does.
Pedro Pascal is.
I was so really upset and they were like, to his credit, Ezra was like, "Why?" And you know, why.
But you know why, Ezra.
The satyrs are like, "Our mother died," and it cuts to this moment of like mother, I guess, dying on a cot, and C, thank God, immediately gets up and books it. And she's running. Her suit wasn't on moments ago, but now it like the helmet part, and like now it is, and you're so glad. And like she's running. She's falling. It's okay. She gets up. Someone almost catches her. She shoots them. Like she's going. You're like, great. I'm glad she's out of that, but like, where is she gonna go now? So she's on this like lonely mission, and she stumbles on Ezra's tent, and Ezra is inside of it. He pulls her in, and he gives her like some food, and they're gonna recoup and figure this out. Except his wound is not healed from that juice. It's like getting worse. And this part is what really, something I really hated is what happens here.
Yeah.
He gives her some kind of like futuristic tool, and he's like, I need you to cut the wound out. I need you to get to the bone. And it was just so gross.
It's like this little, like a little scalpel.
It was way too small to be
like
efficient,
it's not big.
In my opinion. It's clearly like a first aid version of this tool.
I agree.
And it's a little bit motorized, and she tapes it off. She cuts it through. She does it, to her credit, without hesitation, really, or without like being grossed out. And he does ask her why, and she's like, I used to do this kind of stuff with my dad. There was a mission where like I had to crawl inside this beast and like because I could harvest its eggs, and then I had to wash the blood off every night. And you're like, that's disgusting. I'm really sorry your life has been like this. Ezra does not say that.
She didn't just cut out the wound. She cut off his whole arm.
She cut off the whole arm? Okay, that's what I was denying to myself the rest of the movie. I was like, it's very 127 hours in that way where she has to hack through. So that is like sealed up and they're ready to go. They embark again. And now the mission is to like get to the mine and like get on the next ship out of here.
Yeah, get on the mercenaries.
The mercenaries ship. Yeah, which is what Damon was always saying
there's like a whole,
existed.
Yeah.
They get to the mine. And this is where my memory starts to fade. So if you need to help me out, please do.
Yeah.
They find people, they ask for the ride, and in exchange for like finishing up some of the mining here.
Yeah. So can I
jump in, please?
Yeah. So the people they find are mercenaries who have been hired to bring a prisoner from some distant planet to this moon in some like ancient traditional execution style. But while the mercenaries are here on the moon to bring the prisoner, they accidentally stumbled upon a huge deposit of these gems, and they needed Damon, C's dad, to harvest all of those gems. So Damon was going to go there, get the gems, and then the mercenaries were going to take them back to the space station.
Yeah, and there's a moment where Ezra kind of mines one and then like fucks up the chemistry part. So you're like, oh, great, C learned how to do this in like one of the first scenes in the movie. This is she's gonna be able to save it. They're gonna get on the ship and this will be done. So she hops down into the mine to do it. It gets fucked up again. And the mercenaries are like, you guys don't know what the hell you're doing, and now we're down 2 gems. Like, this sucks. So there's another, like, showdown. Again, super stressful. You're like, who's going to make it? Also, you're like, drop Ezra, C. Get the hell out of here. Like, you don't owe this guy a thing. He killed your dad.
Yeah, he's not your actual father. He pretends to be. He pretends to be Damon, the person who actually knows how to harvest these gems to the mercenaries. Yeah,
and that's like why the mercenaries were kind of not immediately. They were kind of expecting this like father-daughter thing, so it wasn't a shock that they showed up, and they were like more malleable to negotiating. There's another action sequence before finally. And if I'm forgetting anything, let me know. Ezra and C make it onto the ship.
Yeah.
Strap themselves in.
Everyone is dead. They're the only 2 people on the ship.
The gems are left behind, the little tapeworm chicken heart things. And then you're just hoping, begging, praying that this is the end for C and she can go build a life for herself. Wherever she's going next.
Yeah. And that's it. That's the end of the movie. It is like a beautifully contained little story. It's
very contained.
Yeah. It's 90 minutes. It's like an hour and a half,
which is a great length for a movie.
Great length. The cast is small, but the story is cool, and it starts with them leaving the space station. It ends with them approaching it again. It's really nice.
It's a full circle. It really is.
Hi, it's Moiya, and welcome to this episode's mid-break. We actually had to stop recording because, like, a really majestic-looking deer appeared in the trees and then made deep eye contact with us. Obviously, we had to stop and pay our respects. It just walked away, but Corinne really wanted to chase it, so I think now is a good time to give a shout-out to our patrons who support this podcast every single month. Thank you, as always, to our sun-like stars, Sharn Llewellyn, Finn, and Peyton, who is also our newest patron. I hope you all live to be 10 billion years old, just like the star that you are, but without any of the unintended consequences of, like, everyone you ever know dying and you being alone. That would suck, and you don't deserve that. You too can support us, hear your name on this pod, and make it to our patron star chart, all by supporting us on Patreon for just about $1 per episode. Find that star chart, the Patreon info, and more at our website, palebluepod.com, or by going right to patreon.com/palebluepod. And if you can't support us financially, that is totally fine. Another great way to support us is to share the show with your friends. So pick your favorite episode and send it to your most curious friend, and that is a really great way to help our show grow. Studies have shown over and over and over that regular practice with analytical thinking can help keep your brain sharp into old age. But the problem is that doing it's not always fun. Enter brilliant.org with the solution. Brilliant is the best way to learn math and science interactively online. Brilliant has thousands of lessons in math, science, and data analysis, and they add new ones every single month. Brilliant doesn't just teach you facts and formulas about math and science, they actually develop your intuition for these subjects through interactive gameplay. Their science courses can help you get a deeper understanding of things that we talk about a lot here, like you can learn about planetary orbits with their classical mechanics lessons, or get an intuition for particle physics with their quantum objects course. Whatever you learn on Brilliant, you're going to have a great time doing it, and it will strengthen your analytical thinking skills and keep your brain looking good. So go to brilliant.org/palebluepod to get a 30-day free trial, and the first 200 people to do that will get 20% off their annual subscription. Again, that's brilliant.org/palebluepod, or go to the link in this episode's description. If you really like those times when I can't help but talk about folklore and you actually want more of that, then I would recommend you listen to Spirits, which is honestly one of my personal favorite podcasts. They describe themselves as a boozy dive into mythology and folklore. Love. Every single week, mythology buff Julia and her childhood best friend Amanda get together to learn about a different story from mythology and folklore over drinks. That's everything from the mythological origins of major franchises like Lord of the Rings and even Wonder Woman, all the way to modern urban legends, many of them sent in by listeners, to a roundup of werewolf stories from around the world. They've released more than 300 episodes over the last 6 years, so you can start anywhere. They are all fantastic. But if you want a familiar voice, check out the Advice from Folklore series, where I join Amanda and Julia to answer listener questions by channeling mythical figures. It's a lot of fun. You can listen wherever you want or at spiritspodcast.com. New episodes come out every single Wednesday. All right, Corinne is back from chasing that deer. I want to know if she was successful, but I'll ask later. For now, let's get back to the episode.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so now we're going to talk about peeves first, and then the thieves of our hearts. And I'm going to tell you right now, listeners, Corinne and I were texting before we started recording this, and we were both like, we really like this movie. We had trouble finding some peeves.
I thought it was really
fun.
But
we did.
I loved how, there were things that I have critiques, but I really liked how, Western indie it felt, despite being in this, space futuristic world. I feel like we've set the bar so high for what a sci-fi movie can be with, CGI and whatever, that it was nice to have this kind of practical effects version of it. And I'll get into it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. I want to hear that. So let's start with peeves. And Corinne and I are going to alternate until we both run out of the things we didn't like about this movie. So do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. So this is a silly peeve, but not really about the movie, but about the world, which is that I do not like bartering culture. I really don't like it. I think it's a society maybe we should be heading towards, because capitalism is not working. But I don't know if bartering is the other side. But for me, a person with social anxiety, I have to kind of hype myself up to order a pizza. I don't like the idea of getting anything I need. It needs to be this performative, formal discussion of hey, sir, how are you there? I see you have this. Well, I have this, and it just really stresses me out.
Got it. So you've never bartered in a marketplace?
I
love
country. Vintage shopping. I antique shop so often. It's one of my favorite things to do. And luckily, usually there's an older woman there who's writing down what I'm buying, and she'll turn to me and be like, ask if there's a better price I can give you.
Oh.
And I'm like, is there a better price?
That's adorable.
Because I hate it. I really hate it.
I'm with you. It's extremely uncomfortable. The first time I ever haggled was last year in Marrakesh, in Morocco. And it's because everyone in my friend group kept telling me, Moiya, you have to haggle.
You have to?
It's part of the culture. And I was like, but I can just pay it.
I know, that's what it is. Is I would rather give you too much. Not that I have a lot to give, but... It saves me the trouble.
Mm-hmm. I saw the price tag when I approached. The way buying works where I'm from is that if I don't agree with that price tag, I just won't
get it. Exactly.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, bartering is tough. I agree with you, but also at the same time, that system is one of my thieves. So.
Oh, really? That's so funny.
Kind of. Or like, well, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
So my first peeve, I'll start with a small one. It's that moment where you can see the planet that the moon orbits in the distance over the horizon. And I don't know, I thought it looked bad. Like, the planet takes up like basically the entire horizon in the shot. And it is a gas giant planet. I looked up the wiki for the movie. It is a gas giant planet, but like still, when you're standing, we have pictures of what the Earth looks like from our moon. And it's tiny. It's tiny on the horizon. So this planet must be really huge and it must be pretty close to the moon. I just thought it could have looked better.
Yeah.
It's a small peeve. Yeah.
It did feel like one of those, there's like a TikTok filter that's like, you hold up to the sky and it like shows you. It did feel like one of those where it's like, okay, this is actually so fake that like I can't buy it.
It did. And I think now that you've said the words practical effects, it's now hitting me that like, the rest of the movie was very practical.
Yes.
And that's probably one of the few scenes that was like CGI.
Yeah, that and like the opening scene with C sitting in the window. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, next peeve for me. This is so stupid. There are a lot of words in this movie. There are specifically for Ezra's character, Pedro Pascal's character. So I love, and I will say this later again, but I love when a movie doesn't give me a ton of context and like just asks me to keep up. I think it means you're like really trusting your audience, and like I think it's a mark of a good storyteller. And, like, the show Severance, for example, does this really, really well, where you're just kind of, like, there's a lot of mystery and a lot of unknown, but you're, like, totally bought in the whole time. And I'm specifically thinking about some of Ezra's lines, and I think it did Pedro Pascal's a disservice and, like, kind of hurt what his performance could be because his lines are so wordy and strange and, like, old-timey. Yeah, they're like very old-timey, like an old-timey Western.
This was also one of my thieves.
Oh my god, this is so funny. Okay, so at least we saw the same movie. But some of his lines took me out. I was like, this is such a weird way to talk.
I agree. Yeah, it was a very weird speech pattern. And, like, why? Where did he learn to talk like that?
Yes. Yeah, that's true. That's a good, like, world-building thing of, like, clearly you have a story here.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's why I liked it. Also because I'm trying to get very into distinct voices for characters for some of my own projects. So, like, I admired it. But, yeah, it's weird. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I felt like it could have been, like, shaped a little bit more.
Lots of words in this movie.
Someone who like loves words.
Okay. This next peeve is pretty much my only other peeve. So, and I know you're gonna agree with it. It's that scene where they're like, "We want the girl." Like I could have gone this entire movie without a potential like sex servant storyline. You know, like I didn't need that.
Yes.
In the movie.
And I don't think that it changes this. Like, we already know, because we're people who exist in 2023, that, like, being a 16-year-old girl on your own in a brand new place, now completely guardianless, is a dangerous position. Like, I don't need to be reminded that how, dark the dangers can be. Like, that's always present.
Mm-hmm. It felt like they were trying to inject more danger into the movie. Like, yeah, it didn't serve the plot. There are a lot of other things that did, like Ezra's arm getting chopped off did eventually serve the plot. It's why he couldn't do the mining later when they met up with the mercenaries. And, like, that's fine. I can handle when bad things happen if it serves the storyline. But if it doesn't, if it just seems gratuitous, like
Yes, especially because, like, it doesn't come back. Like, there's no... Like, the arm thing comes back, or, like, learning how to do the kind of chemistry on the gem. You do see that again. I get it. Yeah. I just don't it's just too scary to me.
We don't even see the satyrs again. Like, that religious group that tries to take the girl. Like, we don't see them again. They don't come back. And they aren't there earlier. Like, it's just injected. It almost feels like to add another scene to the movie.
Yes. And I think that's kind of like indicative of, you know, something the writers did throughout this, of like they built a great world, but it doesn't mean that they told this story in the best way.
Ooh.
Or like there were things they showed me that should be meaningful, or like a great story would have made that meaningful. Otherwise, like, I don't need to see it. It can exist, like, in your Bible of what this movie is, but it doesn't need to be there. Yeah, completely agree.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
My peeve is that it's kind of about, like, this dovetails nicely, which is that I don't think the story hit hard enough emotionally. I think there were some really good threads that they set up that they left hanging. Like, they imply, like, she doesn't know her mom well. Her mom died before she got to know her. There's just secrets her dad left behind. There's, I imagine, some, like, deep loneliness in C that is implied in the beginning of the movie that doesn't quite come back. Like, when she does run back to the ship after she loses her dad and maybe gets high, or, like, you know, clearly is not behaving normally. I think that could have advanced what we knew about her. That was a really good chance to show me who she is when she's completely alone. And I don't think it quite showed me enough. I think that this movie, like, almost, like, needs a sequel, or it needs, like, this was, like, a prequel to an emotional adventure that, like, C and Ezra might have. It's, like, a weird duo cowboy people. But I don't think it said enough.
It needed flashbacks.
Exactly. It needed, and I'll bet it was, like, budgetary reasons, why, because they were staying in, I think they filmed in, like, the Olympic forest for a lot of this. Or at least maybe they did the short film there.
And it was under, their budget was under $5 million.
Yes. So, like, I understand practically, like, why that might not have happened, but I don't think it said enough about the human condition, or about, like, relationships. And I think that all good movies boil down to, like, the people.
Ooh.
Or at least that, like, elevates a movie into, like, greatness. And I think it got really close, but needed more.
That is a good point that I didn't, and I wouldn't notice that, because I actually pay very little attention to, like, character stuff.
Yes,
like, person stuff in stories. I'm here for the worlds, man.
Yeah, well, we're a good pair then, Moiya.
Exactly. But thank you for making that point, because now that you say that, I do see it. Like, there is some tension, you know, like, her dad dies and she's with this new man, and there is some tension there, but it doesn't go as far as it could. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think even, like, a kind of another kind of campfire type scene of her and Ezra it could have been, of just, like, telling more of their story to each other. I think it just needed a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. There, like, the thing that comes closest is the part at the end where Ezra has been, like, shot in the stomach in the skirmish between him and the mercenaries, and C runs away, leaves Ezra in the forest, and you're like, okay, she's gonna make it to the ship, but she just goes back to get the first aid kit, and then helps Ezra, and together they get on the ship. Like, that moment was,
and that says a lot about her. But yeah, I wanted, maybe I need it more explicitly, but I think we could have dove a little bit deeper there.
I agree. Good point.
My final peeve is that I don't like needing to ingest medicine. I never would have drank that juice. I like topical ointments only.
You're here for the like, putty, the
I'm
plaster
here for that
putty.
plaster over the juice.
Do you have any juice? It's just such a...
It was like, ugh.
Gross. I don't have any other peeves. I really liked it all. Yeah.
I'm out.
Okay, well then let's move on to our thieves.
Yay.
I would like to start. Yeah, it's something you've brought up. But the lack of exposition.
Yeah.
I wrote, one of my notes was, wow, this movie really doesn't explain anything. You know, because they don't, every single thing that you learn about the world, you learn by watching the story.
Yep.
And there are no exposition dumps. There are no conversations between people where they explain, this is what this is, and this is how this world works. No, like, you see it all in action, which I think is really beautiful, actually, for storytelling and world building. I noticed pretty quickly that it wasn't going to do exposition, because by the time they got to the surface of the moon and they were walking around and they hadn't said anything like the moon's name or specific, or like explicitly where they're from and what they're doing there, like, I got that they weren't going to tell me anything, so I started writing down notes about what I could learn about the moon just from watching, and like, if you're paying attention to that, you learn a lot about the world, which is really cool.
Yeah. I really love that they trusted us to keep up. Mm-hmm. And also, I think writers can take this note, too, of, like, they're speaking in the sentence structure we speak in. So you can, like, always fill in the blanks of, like, that's a noun, or that's a place, and that's a person. Mm-hmm. And it makes you feel like you're totally a part of it, too.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Like, the nouns they used...
They're not words I've heard.
They'll just talk about, like... Oh, well, you grew up, what's it called? You grew up on Camria or Camry. And it's like, that is a place. That Aralac is a thing. It's a substance. That Lao is a place. Like, they did it really well.
My next one is that I love the practical effects.
Tell me more about practical effects, please.
So practical effects are, like, I think a great example is episodes 4, 5, and 6 of Star Wars. So, like...
Corinne. I've never seen it.
Have you not?
Corinne, I have never seen any Star Wars movie.
I've never seen it in my adult life. I've seen the newer ones. I haven't seen... Okay, we'll have to watch those, Moiya. Now that you've said it.
No.
If you want to go not watching it, that's fine. I've never seen Titanic, and it's like a point of pride.
Yeah, it is. It is now a point of pride for me.
But it's like, kind of doing things in a set instead of doing things on a green screen.
Oh, cool.
So many sci-fi movies now are, like, almost entirely green screen or almost entirely made in the computer. So this was really nice because they filmed on location in a forest, and the suits they wore are, like, actual costumes, and there was no, like, lasers, aliens, whatever. Mm-hmm. I think for me, it made the stakes feel higher and everything felt more real. And again, when you're not giving me any exposition, the only thing I can do is, like, map the world I live in onto the movie. And by using practical effects, it, like, made it feel closer to the world I live in, and I think it made it more understandable.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It makes it cheaper for them. It makes it more realistic for us. It's a win-win.
Yes. Mm-hmm, exactly.
So now I might go on a little world building nerd tangent. Because the world building in this was so remarkably consistent, and also I don't know if they were intending for this, but, like, this is a world that I would have built on exolore. Like, it was very facts based. Or maybe I'm just injecting a lot of facts, but, like, I learned so much by watching. Like, here are the notes that I took. So as soon as they put the helmets on, like, they're in their spacecraft and they put helmets on before they leave. So that told me that something about this air is not all right to breathe. Either it doesn't have oxygen or it has something else in it that they can't breathe. But then there were other hints that told me which of those options it was. Like, these guns that they're using, they are not combustive guns. They have to, like, crank something to build up energy. I'm pretty sure they're like dart guns. And the reason that you wouldn't use combustive guns is if there's too much oxygen in the atmosphere, because it would just blow up. So that told me that, like, there is oxygen, and that makes sense. They seem to be around a lot of very photosynthesizing objects, but something is in the air that they can't breathe. And it was later revealed that it's the dust, although it's not revealed what exactly the dust is. So, like, there's explanation and mystery happening all at once, and I love that. The suits that they were wearing, they don't look pressurized or temperature controlled, which means the suits can be cut and you won't die immediately. So you see that happening, and, like, that's confirmation. It looks like gravity on the world is normal because they're not walking any different. Although I could believe it if the gravity is a little lighter. First of all, because it's a moon and they tend to be pretty small and light, but also because they're carrying a lot of heavy stuff, and the dust just, like, floating around everywhere made me think maybe gravity's a little lighter. But yeah, there's just, like, so much world building in here. The deals, the bartering in this world, the fact that it seems so formal makes a lot of sense for me in a world where humans seem to have spread around the galaxy to different planets and different star systems. Because when that happens, they're going to start building their own little micro cultures on the worlds that they go to. And so you would need very formalized processes to use when you come in contact with someone who's from a different world. And it's
That's
like
a good point.
All of this stuff, they have a different written language. Like, all of the writing that you see in the movie. It's not English.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it is an existing Earth writing system. Although if it is, I can imagine it being based on like East Asian writing systems. It's very like pictographic in that respect. But yeah, I really liked the world building in this movie. It made me extremely happy.
Yeah, they did such a good job. Like, that is the standout thing, I think, from this movie.
Yeah, it almost didn't feel like a space movie.
Yeah, it didn't.
Because they didn't fall into a lot of the common traps that space movies do in their world building and making their, like, the distant planets seem unrealistic. That's usually what I take issue with. But I didn't find anything to take issue with this world.
Oh, I love it. This is such a different tune than when we did Moonfall.
I know. It's totally flipped.
Yeah. Okay, I loved how boring the inside of the spacecraft looked because that is so true. Like, if you've seen any video inside the ISS or inside the space shuttle, like, it's not designed for aesthetics by any means. It's just designed for utility, and whether or not you agree with that, like, I think the ISS could look cooler, but but it felt very true. Like, this is how we've made these look, and it's not this kind of futuristic screens or holographs or whatever.
Yeah, bare bones. That's how it would happen. That makes sense. I loved that the process for getting these gems, which are called Auralac, by the way. Auralac. It's super complicated, and so it's an extremely rare specialty. I might retcon in a peeve because to me, let me know what you think. To me, it seemed like to harvest these gems, they had to kill a living creature.
Yes. Okay, that's what I was confused about too, because they slice a thing that it feels very much like an umbilical cord or like a thing that was attached to the ground, and it's gooey and it's not dry, which would imply something that's not living. It's pretty kind of wet and squishy.
Yeah, wet means alive.
Yeah, it almost feels like pearl harvesting an oyster, but worse.
Yeah,
I think you can pearl harvest without killing an oyster, but I might be wrong.
I think you can. You can. But like for this, especially because the big mine that the mercenaries have found that Damon wants to get to, they call it the Queen's Lair. So there's this queen being, and it made me think that when they are harvesting the Auralac, that the queen has like laid eggs, and they have to cut the eggs and tear out the little like alien embryo thing. And then do a chemical process. Like they have these chemicals that they pour over it, but only on specific parts of it, that harden the little embryo. Like, I'm pretty sure there is a native species to this moon that they are killing in order to harvest the gems. And the explanation that I just made up for the dust, this is just what I choose to believe, is that all of the dust in the air is like this native species way of fighting back.
I love
against people trying to kill them. Yeah, it made me really mad that they were killing these things, but I really loved that the process was so complicated, because it's common in folklore for magical rituals to be extremely complicated, so that when they don't work, you can point at it and be like, look, it's complicated. Like, it's, you're bound to make a mistake. And it also like paid off, because if it was any easier to harvest these gems, then there's no reason for the mercenaries to wait for Damon to come to them. They could do it themselves. So I liked that part of the story.
And Damon was extremely knowledgeable about like how to do it and how carefully to do it, and he successfully did it. We didn't see it get messed up until Ezra tried. But he was down in arms, so. Well, that kind of brings up my next thief, which is that the name of the dad is Damon, and that's the name of my beloved 3-year-old nephew.
Yay!
Shout out to my nephew, who listened to this podcast in the car and did not recognize me.
Oh, no.
No, it's so funny. Of course he wouldn't.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Wow. Love that as one of your thieves. So that brings me to my final thief, which was one of your peeves, and it is Ezra's speech pattern. And I pulled out this one quote that is just wild. And like, yes, you are right. There are a lot of words. And it goes, "Listen, I know well the lore of vengeance. I myself have frequently indulged, and I have not often found regret. And in this moment right here, I'm afraid for both our sakes, I must repost.
Moiya, I almost wrote this line down for my example. I have not often found regret. I was like, no, immediately no for me. But I love that wasn't it for you. That makes me like it more.
I was just so confused. I was like, excuse me, sir, why do you talk like this? What planet are you from?
Like, you're trying to hit the word count. Like, this is me writing a paper in middle school and being like, it needs to be 500 words.
I wish I spoke like this. Honestly, I do. He sounds like an old Southern gentleman.
Yes.
A very educated old Southern gentleman. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I loved it.
That's so funny. Now I like it more. I'm glad you said this because I would have just been like, that was stupid.
Because, I think it's really difficult to give a character a distinct voice.
Yeah,
actors bring a lot to the role in their inflection and with their vocal patterns, but to have it be so distinct with the dialogue alone is really hard to do, and I respect that so much. Yeah,
it is very impressive. That's definitely been a challenge in any script I've written, where the first pass is always like, well, all these people could be the same people.
Yeah, and you know what? At least you can't say that about Ezra.
You can't. You know that's an Ezra line.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, My Last Thief is the world building. I just loved how there was a time where they said we're a dose away, and they were using dose as a measure of distance. So you're like, I don't know what that means, but I know that's what you mean. And he was like, well, my dad used a pod converter. And you're like, again, don't know what that means, but I know that implies he's handy or resourceful and whatever.
Mm-hmm. The things that humans are really good at picking up implications.
Yes. Yeah. And I think a lot of shows don't trust that. They kind of cater to this imagined audience that isn't paying attention.
Mm-hmm. So now I believe it's time for us to go through our rubric. And last time, because we were judging Moonfall, it was out of 15 moons. I would like to propose making this score out of 15 Aralax.
Yes.
The little
agree.
gems. Yeah, okay. So if you don't remember from last time, we have 5 categories in our rubric. It's story, scenery, steaminess. I've changed that from last time. Scientific accuracy, and soothing. So let's start with story. How do we feel about the story in Prospect?
Ooh, this is a good... I tend to judge story off emotional story, which was one of my peeves, so I would hate to bring down the score, but I think I'm out of 3, I'm in the 2.
You know what? I was going to say 2 as well, because I really like the story, but I do really see your point about the character-driven part of the story is not super there.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right, so it gets 2 Aralax. two little
carefully extracted
alien fetuses.
Yeah. Exactly.
Hardened alien fetus, just what everyone wants. All right, so on to scenery, which we have decided is the combination of writing and production in this movie. I think it should be pretty high because it looks great. Now that I know the term, practical effects. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. And we've both said really good things about the writing.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm giving this a 3 too.
Yay! Moving through it. I'm doing my rubric dance over here, listeners.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. Steaminess.
It's not high. Even with Pedro, he wasn't, for me, my type in this.
Yeah. Yes. But he has been my type in other roles.
He has been my type before. In most of the things he's wearing out and about town, if you see paparazzi photos, very gender bending clothes I'm always into.
Mm-hmm. There's a reason he's the internet's daddy.
Yeah.
But it wasn't on display here.
It's like Harry Styles, but more mature. But you don't feel weird about it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. What a description. I'm thinking at most 1 Aralac, but I'm willing to give it none. I am willing.
I'm willing to give it none. I think that it was pretty low to start, and then when they were like, we want the girl, I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah, you're right. None. Also, so there aren't a lot of characters in the movie.
Right.
There's one other woman who is one of the mercenaries, and we don't ever know what she's saying because every time she speaks, it's in a different language.
Yes.
I'm in a very sapphic phase right now, so like I didn't.
Could be passing the Bechdel test. We would never know.
You're right. Scientific accuracy.
Yeah, it feels like that's pretty high on this one.
I think it should be really high. Yeah, I would give it 3 RLX. I think for me, the thing that brings it up to snuff is the guns and how they aren't combustive. Like,
yes.
As soon as I noticed that, I was like, oh, okay, they're thinking. They're thinking
thought
about
this
the science.
movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
3 RLX for you, Glenn Coco. And soothing. How soothing is this movie?
I don't think it's soothing. It's very much thriller, not thriller in like a jump scare way, but like a what's gonna happen next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you are. I don't want to speak for everyone. I was very stressed watching this movie.
Yes, it was a stressful film for sure, which is why the 90-minute length is perfect.
I agree. Yeah, and it's not stressful in the like grand existential sense. Like it doesn't make me feel like I'm in any more danger here on Earth. It doesn't make space feel any more scary, right. I think. But just like the action in it, the tension that they build, it makes you stressed. So for that, I would go like kind of neutral, you know? Like between like 1 or 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's comparing apples and oranges, like it Orlex to Moons and Moonfall. Like the scores are not the same, different movies entirely. But I think 1 or 2 for this as well. So let's do 1.5.
Okay, that means 6, 8, 9.5 out of 15 RLX.
Pretty high.
That's pretty high. Honestly, I think I did expect it to be higher, but that's because I forgot that steaminess was one of our categories.
Steaminess brought it down, but
it did, yeah. This movie was never going to get high in steaminess.
We didn't make the rubric. It's not our fault.
It's not our fault.
This has nothing to do with us.
So yeah, if you haven't seen Prospect, Corinne and I both really liked it. It gets 9.5 out of 15, although I think really it should get like 9.5 out of 12. Let's just like remove steaminess.
Yeah, if we cut steaminess out.
But yeah, I would recommend. And if you haven't seen it already, it's a nice 90-minute romp through an alien forest.
Yeah, it really is. Just like where we are right now.
Yes.
And next time you're in the woods or thinking of picking up a gem, remember that you are space.
Yeah, you are. Bye. Pale Blue Pod was created by Moiya McTier and Corinne Caputo with help from the Multitude Productions team. Our theme music is by Evan Johnston and our cover art is by Shay McMullen. Our audio editing is handled by the incomparable Misha Stanton.
Stay in touch with us and the universe by following @PaleBluePod on Twitter and Instagram, or check out our website, palebluepod.com. We're a member of Multitude, an independent podcast collective and production studio. If you like Pale Blue Pod, you will love the other shows that live on our website at multitude.productions.
If you want to support Pale Blue Pod financially, join our community over at patreon.com/palebluepod. For just about $1 per episode, you get a shout out on one of our shows and access to director's commentary for each episode. The very best way, though, to help Pale Blue Pod grow is to share it with your friends. So send this episode, this link, to one person who you think will like it, and we will appreciate you for forever.
Thanks for listening to Pale Blue Pod. You'll hear us again next week.
Bye.